I am here to do Albert's 3-month update. He was 12 weeks on Tuesday, and I just can't believe how fast it's gone. It's absolutely whizzed by, and I'm kind of feeling a bit sad about it, to be honest. I just feel like it's gone like super duper fast. So Albert has done a 360 turn from my original videos. Part of me wonders if there was actually anything ever wrong with him and if it was just purple crying and colic, basically. I might do a separate video. My glasses are really dirty. Albert keeps like flinging his hands into my face. I might do a separate video on colic because I think people think that colic is just wind, but it isn't actually. That no one actually knows what it is. It's basically just crying, like crying for 3 hours a day, for 3 days a week, I think, consistently, and it's really hard to deal with. Things actually, but then again, things massively improved after he had his tongue tie slipped, which I will do a separate video on, although loads of videos have been done on it, I think, but it caused exactly the same symptoms as a cow's milk protein intolerance, and it was horrendous, and it took us about 4 or 5 times to get that diagnosed, and the same as Sebastian, it took that long. So if you are worried or suspect that your baby might have a tongue tie, then go to a professional International Board of Lactation consultant and get it checked there. So a professional lactation consultant, not a midwife, not a health visitor, not a doctor, not any of those. Go to a lactation consultant, because it was all those other people who misdiagnosed Albert. So he has done a 360 turn and he's doing really well, aren't you? He's not even dressed yet. He's wearing his I don't know if you guys remember in my haul the little Frugy nightie. Although his feet keep getting stuck. I might actually get rid of it now. It's getting a bit awkward for him, but it's great for newborns because you can just pull it up and change their bums. Anyway, I'm digressing. So Albert he's doing really well. By this stage, or by 6 weeks with Sebastian, he was in a routine. So at 7:30 he would go down to sleep, and he was up all through the night because I was combination feeding. That made me really exhausted. I found bottle feeding at night really exhausting. So even though he went down early, he was up all night. Albert but then Sebastian never had any colic or evening crying, which apparently isn't very normal. So Sebastian basically was just an exceptional baby, and I didn't realise it at the time. Albert, on the other hand, is a pretty normal average baby, and he kind of comes alive in an evening. He's completely stopped any evening crying. Rather now he's done a U-turn and he's evening playing. He just comes alive and is ready to play and is all happy, and it's really nice actually. It's really nice as well for Chris to be there to kind of play with him and stuff too. But you know, any chances of him going down at sort of 7:30 like Sebastian is not really something that happens. However, his bedtime is kind of creeping closer rather than from sort of midnight. It's coming back to like 9 o'clock, 9:30. He's still very much like a newborn in his sleep. Whether that's Albert or not, I don't know. I remember Sebastian, he kind of started to wake up quite, he was really awake in the day by about 3 months, 2 months, I think. Whereas Albert, like yesterday, he just slept all day, and the day before he just slept all day. Saying that, he has got a really nasty cough at the moment, like really quite a bad one. I might take him back to the doctor actually, because it's keeping him awake at night. That could be why he's sleeping. Maybe he's fighting off the bug or something, I don't know. But he does sleep an awful lot in the day, and we're trying to kind of shift that. With Sebastian, I was very big on routine. Again, as you guys know, my bond with him wasn't fantastic, and so I was kind of just like trying to get him down in a routine, and kind of a bit more kind of stressed out about when he wasn't sleeping. When he was sleeping, I'd get really stressed out about it. With Albert, I've just gone with Albert's flow. I'm quite happy if he's awake. Because my bond with him is different. I'm happy if he's awake. I'm happy if he's like doing his thing. If he's awake in an evening, it's okay. It doesn't bother me. I found it far less stressful going with the babies, going with the baby's flow rather than with the flow that I want to set him in. It's far less stressful to do it that way. So that's basically what we've been doing. We're just following Albert's lead. He's still breastfed on demand. His feeds are getting much more spaced apart. Sometimes you can go 2 to 3 hours between a feed. Pardon you. At night time, there have been times when he has gone sort of 4 or 5 hours in a night and done quite a long stretch. He hasn't done that recently, but I think it could be because he's been poorly. So at the moment, he's kind of feeding every 2 hours. We are co-sleeping, so rather than kind of getting up, turning a light on or, lamp on to feed him, I just pick him up out of his co-sleeper and feed him lying down. So essentially we're kind of spend half the night bed sharing, half the night not. I'll leave a link down below regarding bed sharing, because it's actually done properly. It's incredibly safe. There's no increased risks. in sudden infant death syndrome if you do bed share, provided you do it safely. It can actually prevent SIDS. So I'll leave that link down below. There's a big misconception that if you bed share, then you're gonna, you know, it's really dangerous, and it is dangerous if you're not doing it properly. But if you're doing it safely, it's actually quite safe. So, and by doing that, it's and that's very highly associated with breastfeeding because it helps you get more sleep. I don't feel nowhere near as sleep deprived at the moment as I did with Sebastian. Though lately I have been, last couple of days, I think because he's just coughing and spluttering and crying and a bit kind of unsettled because of his cough. And then Sebastian decides to come in at 6 in the morning, so today has been particularly tiring. We missed baby sensory this morning, which was kind of a bit sad, but I really needed to get some sleep. And Sebastian's at nursery, so that really helped. So yeah, so that's what we do at night time. Actually, what's been happening the last sort of, before he had his cough, is that I'd feed him and put him back into his bed, so he's actually just being fed lying down while I doze, and then once he finishes feeding, I put him back into bed. So that really helps. And he'll go to sleep maybe 9:30, 10 o'clock, and then apart from feeding, he'll wake up when Sebastian comes in, so about 6:30 usually, sometimes 7. Well, not when Sebastian comes in, but Albert would just wait after and to kind of wake up at 7, and he'll stay awake for he can stay awake for like 20 minutes and decide to go back to sleep, or he'll stay awake for an hour or 2 and then go back to sleep. So he's really good. I do wonder if he might start teething. He is putting his hands in his mouth and chewing his fists. That can be developmental though, so I don't know. But he's drooling a lot, so he's also lost all his hair. He's got massive, big, bald patches in his hair. Oh, Albert. He's absolutely humongous. I do not know how much he weighs. I expect he probably weighs about 11 or 12 pounds. But he's huge. He's not in 3 to 6 month clothes yet. He's still in 0 to 3 month clothes. But I don't think it'll be long until he is. I don't know, actually. I've tried some of his 3 month clothes and they are still quite big. So maybe he might be starting to... I don't know. I don't think he's going to be like Sebastian. I think he's going to be a lot bigger. I mean, he already is. Sebastian was half his size when he was his age. I remember when Sebastian was 3 months old, I think he was like 9 pounds. So, whereas Albert's definitely not. Like, he's way past that. He was 10 pounds at like 6 weeks or something. So, he's a chunk. He's a little chunky. Yes. As for myself, pretty much back to normal. I'm really loving it this time. I feel really like much more laid back and chilled out. Having a baby second time around is so different. You really do chill out. You don't fuss over them. I remember seeing couples like who are parents for the first time, and they'll be pushing the baby in the pram and the baby starts to cry and they both go in and fuss, fix the blanket and stuff, and it's quite funny. Or when you bath them, like you always tend to do it together. It's like a military operation, whereas like Albert just gets like dunked in with Sebastian, a quick wash and out again. It's really, really different. It's so much different. And when Albert cries, you don't kind of freak out and get stressed out about it. You just kind of go with it. And, sometimes he has to, if he's crying in the car, you almost ignore it until you can get to stop safely and then deal with it, Whereas before I'd be like, oh my God, I have to stop, like on the, the hard shoulder. It can really freak you out, when you're first time mum. So that's pretty much it. As for my postpartum weight loss, my bump is, if you want to see what my belly looks like, I think go back to my 2 month video. I can't remember when I did my last update, because I don't particularly want to get my belly out now, but it's basically gone back down to normal. I've actually struggled to keep weight on this time, and I think that could be the breastfeeding, because breastfeeding can burn a lot of calories, even though some people find they put it on because it also makes you really hungry. But I seem to struggle to keep the weight on this time. I'm hoping it doesn't sort of stay that way. So yeah, back as well on the breastfeeding, my supply has settled now, and I'm not so kind of leaky and engorged as I was originally. So that's pretty much it. And here's little Albertino Lorino. He's getting really hungry. I better go and feed him. So yeah, I will see you guys soon. If you like this video, please subscribe, and yeah, take care. Bye.